I realized there was one more thing I wanted to talk about in regard to the fertility question in men using TRT. It is very true that when you go on testosterone at a dose that achieves blood levels higher than your body is accustomed to producing, let's say, because we don't know what the actual cutoff is, what number that happens, right? And it's going to be different from man to man for sure. Definitely seeing that. So if you take testosterone in excess of what your body sort of has been thinking is adequate, which is adjusted based on the chemicals and everything in our body, so it's not accurate anymore. That's why we aren't making enough. You will be shutting off your pituitary signal, your gonadotropins. Okay, that's an important word. So FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, is a gonadotropin, which means it goes from the pituitary to your gonads, and it tells your gonads what to do. Trope is like do or work. So a gonadotropin tells your testicles or your ovaries what to do. One aspect is the fertility aspect, follicle stimulating hormone. Men don't make follicles, really. We make sperm, but they call it the same thing. In us, it should be sperm releasing hormone or stimulating hormone. Sperm stimulating hormone. In women, it's follicle stimulating hormone. So then there's another one called LH, luteinizing hormone. And that produces hormones. So one is for fertility purposes, one is for hormonal purposes. And there's that duality of a lot of our organs. Like our pancreas makes digestive enzymes that flush into the intestine to break down food that we eat. And it also has an endocrine function, a whole lot of peptide hormones that get released into the bloodstream and have systemic activity. A lot of your organs have this kind of duality to them, a local effect and a systemic effect. So if you take a birth control pill, it's a synthetic hormone. It's a pair of synthetic hormones, usually a progestin and an estrogen. They are not bioidentical, and they take tiny, tiny amounts to trick your pituitary into thinking you're already making these hormones in adequate amounts, and then it shuts off your pituitary gonadal axis. So in women, we do that with birth control pills all the time. No problem. Works fine. They take them, no follicles are stimulated because there's no follicle stimulating hormone, and then they don't ovulate at all. And then when they want to stop and have a child in the future for planning purposes, they can do that, and their fertility resumes, bring it back on schedule. Same thing happens in men. So the thing you can use to override this. So if you're a man on testosterone replacement and you are interested in having a child, you can you can stop your TRT, which I do not recommend. The first time I wanted to have another child after stopping my TRT, I was pretty miserable. I didn't know that there was this other way that I'm going to talk to you about using HCG. Spoiler, I just thought I had to stop my TRT, and I'd been on it for, I don't know, a couple of years. And it was really unpleasant. I stopped it and my levels went back down to usual. And it took me about a month to sort of get used to feeling that level of function and color and joy in the world again. And then it seemed like my new normal and I was going on okay. And then luckily, you use the HCG. What HCG stands for, a lot of people confuse us with HGH. Don't do that. They're not the same thing, of course. HGH is human growth hormone. That means it's been like genetically identical to human or whatever. They used to originally get it out of the pituitaries of cadavers to try to, anyway, it's a whole thing. We'll talk about HGH in another video because I'm not a fan of using it in people unless they're children that aren't growing. So HCG stands for human, that's the same. Chorionic, which means it comes from the placenta inside a pregnant woman, and that's generally the only place it should be made. And G is for gonadotropin. So again, the gonadotropins, FSH and LH, this is also a gonadotropin, but it is chorionic, which means it's not made in the ovary or the testicle or whatever. It's made only in the placenta. The placenta is this organ where it's an interdigitation, I guess is a good word, where the female or the mother and the child's blood circulation kind of fit together with these very close pathways, capillary beds, so you can transfer stuff from mother to child. And the placenta is also an endocrine organ. It makes this hormone, which is a really big key one, but it also makes other things we probably understand. So we use HCG as a pregnancy test. It's only seen in pregnant women, and I think choriocarcinoma of the testicle, if I remember it. It's either a choriocarcinoma or a seminoma. There's one odd testicular cancer men can get where that HCG gene is turned on and they'll actually produce HCG. And so if you ever draw a pregnancy test on a man and it says he's got high HCG, he's either like got one of these tumors, or maybe he's using like a huge amount of HCG. Because when I did the HCG for this purpose, I was injecting 500 units of HCG every other day. I was advised to try that by a colleague and friend of mine who I respect, who was having this conversation about how I had the child and it was really miserable coming off my TRT, and he goes, oh, you don't have to do that. And as he said it, I thought, well, that's obvious. It's a gonadotropin. It makes your gonads work. Okay. And that's what it does. And they can synthesize it and make it in a laboratory because it's a peptide, right? It's another peptide hormone. So the peptide places will sell HCG. Also, bodybuilders use it and other athletes use it when they're on testosterone replacement to restore testicular size. So those men out there who are really troubled by the shrinkage factor in your testicles, which is an interesting thing to me. I've always found it to be a lot simpler to get through life and more comfortable to cross your legs and do leg extensions at the gym because I don't have to worry about larger testicles getting smashed together. So, but some men, you do you. They hate the shrinkage, and so they want to do HCG. It will totally resume your normal testicle size. And they're just on vacation. They're not gone. And it will also restore sperm production. Will it boost the testosterone production from your testicle as well? Yeah, it does. And I've had people try using HCG alone to boost their testosterone production short of going on TRT. In fact, I may have tried that myself as an experiment. It was very long ago, but I think I did try it. And between me and the other people that I saw try this, it might get you from like a 300 level to a 600 or 700 level. It wasn't magical. And on that note, Clomid also, like clomiphene is a common drug that's used to try to trick your body into making more of its own testosterone. I've seen men taking Clomid or clomiphene, either one, clomiphene or N-clomiphene, get their testosterone levels to around 1,000 or 1,100 even, somewhere in that ballpark. And that's remarkable. And it's also interesting that the testicle itself is able to just produce that much when people think that it shouldn't be above 750 or 800 now with the reference ranges. So this medication that tricks you into production somehow jacks you up way above the reference range, and they don't seem to be bothered by that. They leave the men on clomiphene when they're at 1,000, go, oh, good, the clomid's working great. But if you use testosterone itself to get to that high, then they freak out. Anyway, so the method I was suggested to use worked very well. You take a 10,000 unit vial of HCG, or you could buy two 5,000 unit vials, whatever. Add saline to it so that it's 1 milliliter per 1,000 units of HCG. So put 10 milliliters in a vial with the 10,000 units of HCG, 5 milliliters if it's a 5,000 unit vial, okay? And then you have 1,000 units per milliliter, and half of that is 500, right? So 500, so half a cc with an insulin syringe injected subcutaneously in your belly or wherever every 2 days. That works great. My 15-year-old son I had with the Stop TRT plan, which I didn't like very much, and then my last 2 children, plus a couple of miscarriages along the way, so 4 pregnancies caused by using the HCG. Works fine. Those last 2 kids seem pretty dull, but they're actually both pretty exceptional. But I can't credit the HCG for that. So that's a very important thing. Another thing about HCG is that it is used for weight loss. It was used for weight loss long ago. I mean, the only FDA-approved use for it is the stimulation of ovulation in a woman seeking better fertility. So women that are having like ovulatory phase problems or whatever, you can inject them with a whole whopping, like the whole 10,000 unit vial of HCG all at once. There's a product called Ovidrel that's delivered like that as a single ampule, and they will burst out a bunch of eggs all of a sudden, just hyperstimulate the follicles. And then maybe one of them will completely develop and turn into the baby of the future. So there's a use for that. It's not very effective nowadays. People have too many problems. But they found somebody long, long ago, decades and decades, and the HCG diet has come around in our culture repeatedly until the GLP-1 sort of showed up. But what happens is when people inject, and it was like 250 units every day subcutaneously, the HCG is not what helps you lose weight. The HCG does not really have that effect on caloric consumption, it doesn't tip that balance. But what it does do, this is what they say, and I would say that this seems real. What it does seem to do is it shifts your energy utilization from carbohydrates and proteins and muscle tissue breakdown to using fat. So when women are early in their pregnancy, they're like putting on some weight, getting some fat and stuff out of the HCG level keeps rising and rising and rising. And when it gets to a high point in the future, it will shift that metabolism, it seems, or somehow along the way it does this. So pregnant women are using their stored body fat to nourish their baby rather than breaking down their muscle tissue and making themselves weaker and less healthy, which of course isn't good for the baby, right? So it's just an energy utilization switch. I use this for hundreds and hundreds of people in my clinic in Alaska in the past, and we had really good success. The thing is, people had to restrict their caloric intake, right? So they struggled with that. The goal was to try to get your calories down to 500 a day. Unless you were exercising and you were doing something else active, then you might need to eat more just to sustain the activity, and that's fine. But there's a whole strict protocol, and people would lose like 30 pounds in a month if they did this right, and if they had it to lose, right? Once you got down to a pretty healthy body weight, you aren't going to lose any more weight. But it's not like you're not going to get anorexic with this stuff. It's going to get you to a healthier point and keep you there. So did that for years. When my wife started talking to me about peptides and semaglutide became so popular and everything, and everybody's talking about this, my wife and me looking at peptides, and she wanted to start trying to utilize the weight loss peptides for people because we have so many people with obesity, makes sense. When she was telling me about them and I researched them and how they work, it seemed obvious to me that the smartest thing you could do is add HCG to the protocol. And I have not heard anyone else saying that or talking about that, and it's confusing to me because it seems obvious. So if you're using a GLP-1, inhibitor or mimic or whatever they are. Now there's a multitude of facets to them now. If you're using one of those and you're automatically restricting your calories, right? The biggest problem people are running into using these is they're losing a lot of lean body mass. The antidote to that is HCG. They just sort of fit together, right? So if a person is on Ozempic or retatrutide or tirzepatide or whatever, and they're not eating as much, they feel satisfied and they're not hungry, their calorie intake is way down, they're going to be losing fat and muscle at similar rates. In a lot of studies, that's what it's showing. So if you add HCG, the 250 units of HCG every day to this, it doesn't affect their hunger anymore. Like they're not going to be even less hungry. It just allows them to eat less and lose less muscle. And the combination is really effective. My wife and I, Jeanette, our weight loss sort of protocol overall involves checking people's hormone situation out first, because hormones are the things that have the biggest impact on your metabolism, your weight regulation, your appetite, your mood, which also affects your appetite and your food choices, right? All those things, your muscle mass, your activity level, they're really integral into the whole I want to lose weight and be healthy process. So we have everybody look at all their relevant hormones first, thyroid levels, cortisol, DHEA, testosterone, estrogens. That's pretty much the list. Go through that. We try to correct any deficiencies, balance things out first so their metabolism is ready for this process. And then we start them on the GLP-1 and HCG simultaneously. And we have had a lot of patients who tried using one of the GLP-1s with other practitioners and didn't lose any weight, or just no matter how hard they tried, or they tried it once, lost some weight, tried it twice, got nowhere. And then we've done this approach with them and they just reformed their body. It works really well. It's just logical. You're trying to balance these aspects of these hormonal influences on people in the most effective way. All of that useful information for people out there. Lots of people using these things on their own. Lots of people buying them on their own from the internet. Just, wherever you can get the weight loss peptides, you can also get HCG. And it's a lot safer way to do this. It's not that much more expensive either. It might be $100 a month or something, ballpark. So compared to the GLP-1, it's way cheaper, but it will make the difference for a lot of people.